Hey everyone, how you all doing? With the Kenobi series just around the corner, I thought it'd be a great idea to do a fan fiction going over what if Obi-Wan killed Anakin. Now this is an event that would have had huge implications for the saga going forwards after episode 3, drastically changing the whole story. For the better or not, I'll let you decide. Before we jump in, remember to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all the latest fan fictions, Star Wars news and rumours and all the rest of it. And if you're like me, you can't wait for the Kenobi series to drop, make sure to leave a like. Let's see if we can get over 300 on this one. But for now, sit back, relax and enjoy. After an intense and heated battle, Obi-Wan Kenobi looks down upon the dismembered body of his former Padawan, Anakin Skywalker, now known as Darth Vader. 13 years of memories instantly flash before his eyes. Obi-Wan can see the young slave boy on Tatooine, saying goodbye to his mother before he embarks on his Jedi path. A white mist obscures his vision momentarily, before he sees the powerful and wise brother who had saved his skin more times than he could possibly remember. A visibly emotional Obi-Wan raises his head, looks out towards the horizon, which is engulfed in thick volcanic smoke. As the fire begins to engulf the fallen Jedi sprawled on the ground, the screams and the smell of the burning flesh prove to be too much for Obi-Wan to handle. Feeling a tremendous amount of emotional loss, he turns away and begins to walk back towards the ship, picking up Anakin's lightsaber in the process, closing the book on a huge chapter in his life. But perhaps not mentally. It was never Obi-Wan's intention to kill Anakin, but at this point he wasn't sure if Anakin was there to be killed in the first place. Perhaps the boy he trained had already died before he officially denounced the order, and from his ashes arose a nightmare. Regardless of who Anakin had become, the fond memories they had both shared shall live on in Obi-Wan forever. Thinking back to the wise words of Master Yoda, Kenobi comes to realise what remains of the creature lying on the lava shore was Anakin no more, only the dark entity that had consumed him. In one last show of respect for the boy he trained, Obi-Wan realises what he must do. Obi-Wan turns and makes his way back down towards the defeated Sith, who is channeling all of his remaining force power into keeping himself alive, harnessing the darkness into allowing the oxygen to pass through his failing lungs, leaving no energy for him to defend himself and extremely vulnerable to attack. Obi-Wan kneels beside the dismembered Vader, looking down at the smouldering Sith, who is filled with hatred and pure rage, the embodiment of what truly lies within this broken man. Kenobi unclips his lightsaber from the belt and slowly places the emitter onto Anakin's charred forehead. Anakin's eyes widen in fear as Obi-Wan closes his. He slightly turns his head away and in an instant ignites his saber. A hue of blue reflects upon Vader's yellow, bloodshot eyes, before they eventually return to a vacant, stone-cold blue. A tear trickles down Obi-Wan's cheek as he retracts his blade. He had finished it. The story of Anakin, Vader, and the prophecy of the Chosen One had come to an end. Although difficult, Kenobi knew deep down he did the right thing for the man he knew, and will choose to remember Anakin for who he was before he was corrupted by the darkness. This was by far the hardest moment Obi-Wan has ever had to live through, but strangely, putting Anakin out of his misery brought a sense of calm to the emotionally defeated Jedi Master, knowing that if there was a tiny fragment of Anakin that remained within Vader, he could now be at peace. Obi-Wan's time to grieve for these tremendous losses is cut short. His emotion and compassion showed towards Anakin in his final moments had delayed his escape from Mustafar. Obi-Wan looks up into the distance as he hears the sound of a ship descending to ground level. Through the red haze appears a Theta-class shuttle. Immediately Obi-Wan senses the sinister presence of the Emperor. As the ship lands, Obi-Wan positions himself before it. Anticipating the oncoming attack, he pulls out his saber and ignites it. Physically and mentally exhausted from the fight with Anakin, Kenobi tries desperately to tap into more force power, understanding that with Palpatine here, Yoda must have failed, signifying that this fight will be far more difficult than the last, with potentially the fate of the galaxy depending on it. Half a dozen clones immediately exit the ship as it lands and open fire on Kenobi, with the weakened Jedi successfully managing to keep his defence intact and deflecting most of the blaster fire back at the clones, with one shot slightly skimming his knee, leaving enough damage to cause Obi-Wan to lose his balance for a moment. Once the bombardment of shots had come to an end, a hooded figure descends from the ship, revealing himself to be Darth Sidious. Despite being considerably more deformed than their last encounter, still bears the menacing Palpatine grin of old.
I see you have met my new apprentice, General Kenobi. You have only slowed my plan. By now you should know the Jedi Order is finished.
Kenobi stands with his eyes firmly fixed upon the Emperor. With every passing moment, he looks at the monster and can feel the anger bubbling within him. The suffering the Sith Lord has inflicted, radiating in Kenobi's mind. Freedom, the Jedi Order and Anakin, all gone in what seemed like an instant. But one thing Kenobi and the galaxy can't afford to lose is hope. The galaxy needed hope, now more than ever. And whilst there's hope, there's something left to fight for. Remembering his training, Obi-Wan quickly collects himself and focuses his full attention on the task at hand, with only recently witnessing the danger of not controlling one's emotions. Regardless of what you think you will achieve, the light will shine on the Jedi Order again, I assure you. A scowl creeps upon the Emperor's face as he raises his hand and shoots Force lightning in the direction of Kenobi, who quickly raises his lightsaber to deflect it. Upon seeing Kenobi's resilience, Palpatine digs deeper into the roots of the dark side to increase the intensity of the lightning attack. With the sheer force of the lightning, Kenobi struggles to resist as Palpatine continues to push the Jedi to his limits. Within a matter of moments, Palpatine's assault breaks through, as an overpowered Obi-Wan drops his saber and takes the full force of the lightning, sending him hurling into the distance and crashing down onto the volcanic planet's surface, mere meters away from the remains of Anakin. Concealed amongst the fiery haze, the Emperor walks towards the helpless Jedi as a menacing laugh crackles through the air. Obi-Wan struggles back to his feet as the Emperor raises a hand and grabs Kenobi through the Force, leaving Obi-Wan defenceless, his life solely in the hands of the Emperor as he levitates above the ground.
Now you will pay for your betrayal. The feeble Jedi Order is no match for the power of the dark side.
Time almost seems to slow down for Obi-Wan as he levitates helplessly in the air. Palpatine pauses as he takes in the moment. Many years as he yearned to kill a Jedi. Many years as he had to remain hidden amongst the vermin of the Republic, waiting for the right moment to take what he deserves. And here it is. Kenobi is using all of his remaining energy to try and escape the grip of the Emperor, who seems relatively unfazed by the amount of power it takes to hold a fully trained Jedi in this way. Palpatine's relatively unchanged grin turns into a look of anger, and with immense speed and power, Kenobi is pushed up into the air and out over the fiery hell of Mustafar. Just as Obi-Wan is mere seconds away from falling to his death, he closes his eyes one last time to prepare himself for his transition into the netherworld of the Force. He whispers, "I am one with the Force is with me." Half a minute passes and Obi-Wan believes his passing over is complete, and far less painful than he had anticipated. He opens his eyes and to his surprise finds himself still hovering above the Arthur's surface, be it only by a few feet. He looks over towards the shore as he makes out the faint figure of Palpatine, largely concealed by the ever worsening smoke, which seems to be increasing in thickness by the minute. About 100 meters to the right of the Emperor, Kenobi spots another silhouette, this one being considerably smaller than Palpatine's. It can't be, could it? Obi-Wan squints his eyes in an attempt to focus in more of the mysterious figure. Amongst the smoke, an outstretched, three-fingered hand points in Obi-Wan's direction. It was Master Yoda. Yoda begins to move the severely beaten Kenobi back to the relative safety of the shore, who is then retrieved by Bail Organa and helped on board the ship. hidden from harm's way, alongside Padme. It took Palpatine a moment to realise what was happening due to the increasing denseness of the smoke. However, once he sees Kenobi levitate to safety, a deeply angered Palpatine begins to cast his glare in all directions to find the Jedi responsible. Almost imploding with anger, that all-familiar scowl fills the Emperor's face as he spots the little green Jedi Master Yoda just within striking distance. Raising both hands, Palpatine releases a horrifying growl as he blasts Force Lightning into the direction of Yoda, the blast radius so large it's sure to strike him. On the other side of the attack, Yoda turns towards Palpatine and fixes a strong stance and raises his own hands to deflect the lightning using just the Force, as he did in their previous meeting on Coruscant. Palpatine slowly makes his way closer to the Jedi Master, walking him down as Yoda finds himself being edged backwards, closer to the lava with every step the Emperor takes, due to the sheer power of the assault. Although not afraid of death, Yoda realises time is running out for him to make an escape, knowing that his survival would be far more beneficial to the galaxy through the dark times that have now arrived. Carefully plotting the right moment to break away, he finds himself pushed back just far enough to jump behind a small rock formation shielding himself from the Emperor's attack, affording himself valuable cover as he demonstrates his outstanding agility and speed whilst he darts between the various rocks and boulders, making his way back towards the ship, whilst Palpatine is still taunting the small rock formation in which Yoda first shielded behind. So quick was Yoda's exit, Palpatine has no clue that by this moment the Jedi Master is long gone. As Yoda boards the ship, he immediately closes the doors behind him and instructs Bail Organa to take off, whilst he slumps to the floor, desperately trying to catch his breath. As the ship leaves the atmosphere, Yoda and Obi-Wan tend to Padme as best they can, as the group charts course for the Polis Masson medical facility. Once arriving at the medical centre, Padme is promptly whisked into the treatment room, and upon examination, is prepared for the imminent arrival of the baby. Obi-Wan, taking on somewhat of a godfather-worldly child, remains by Padme's side whilst Yoda and Bail watch on from outside the room. To everyone's surprise, Padme gives birth to twins, Luke and Leia. A concerned Master Yoda looks on, instantly realising these children were the offspring of Anakin Skywalker. As Padme looks up at Obi-Wan, she's about to ask him if Anakin is alright, until a sense of warm calmness falls over her, the exact feeling she felt whenever she was with Anakin. She could feel his presence, although not Force sensitive, the bond they shared connected them in other ways. In this moment, Padme realised that Anakin was no longer alive, but she could feel the peace his energy radiated, bringing her the much needed peace her shattered soul had been crying out for. Although no longer of this life, the man she fell in love with had survived the battle within himself, she thought, as she closes her eyes.
Medically, she is completely healthy, but she will need time to recover.
Obi-Wan nods in agreement as he leaves to speak with Yoda and Bail in private.
Disappear we must. The long road to rebuild the Jedi Order begins today.
If we stand any chance against Palpatine, we need numbers. We must plan our next steps wisely. The fate of democracy depends on it.
When the time is right, return we will.
And what of the children?
Split up they must be, hidden when the Emperor will not sense their presence.
Master, Padme and the children must come with us. Palpatine possesses a great threat. If he finds out Padme survived, he'll come looking for them.
With the fall of Darth Vader, a new apprentice the Emperor will need. I agree. Important to the Jedi Order they are. Our protection they shall have.
Back on Mustafar, a battalion of clones have arrived after receiving a distress call. Palpatine is kneeling beside the charred remains of Vader, resting the palm of his hand upon the fatal saber wound on his forehead. Palpatine closes his eyes momentarily before being interrupted by clones. We received a distress call and arrived as soon as we can.
Recover the body and preserve it immediately.
Back at the medical facility, which had provided a brief but much needed respite for the group, Padme and the twins are deemed fit enough to travel with the others. The group board the ship and head towards a location deemed safe by Master Yoda, the Swamp Planet. Dagobah. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want part 2, let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed today's fans fiction, it would be great if you could show your support by leaving a like, and if you want to catch more fans fictions with me, make sure you click the subscribe button so you don't miss them. I had an insane amount of fun making this one, and I've already got in mind where this story can go for part 2 and even part 3. But until next time, may the Force be with you always.